Welcome back to the Tea with JB. Today, I'm coming to you from a very different background, a different scenery. It's a place where many have dreamed to be and only few have had the pleasure to experience, and that is my bed. Yep, we're testing out a new format. I am just like, finding my groove. I'm like, do I want to record in the mornings? Do I do better recording in the afternoons? Do I do better recording in the studio? Do I do better recording from my guest bedroom? I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe this is just not for me at all. We'll see. You guys you'll know once I stop posting if I've given up on this. But I actually don't think I'll give up on this because I really like hearing myself speak. But I'm sorry I missed, speaking of giving up, I'm sorry I missed last week. I wish I had like a really amazing excuse for you. My excuse is my disability, and that is my neurodivergency and my ADHD. Is ADHD considered a disability? I feel like they let you say that in college. I remember when I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 14, by the way, 14, I was diagnosed with ADHD. All these bitches are like, I'm being diagnosed with ADHD. I'm 35. I'm like, honey, you are just overstimulated. Who doesn't have ADHD anymore? I truly feel like my brain does really have ADHD, but I remember back to what I was saying. I remember in college, they were like, you have a disability. You have extra time for the tests. And I'm like, why do I need extra time with the test? I already don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I don't need more time to tell me I didn't study for this test. I have no idea what was going on. I've said this once. I've said it again. I was Purdue's personality hire. Purdue is a school full of nerdy engineer kids, people who like actually went to college for like a skill, for like a passion. Like they wanted to be aerospace engineers. They wanted to be veterinarians. They wanted to be nurses. And then it's like, here's Jade Brandt. Why the fuck are you here? I'm getting a sales degree. My parents were like, sales? We sent you here for business. I'm like, yeah, business. I couldn't pass calculus. They're like, so now you're getting a sales degree. That's like what people used to do in the 50s who didn't know what they were doing with life, or like anyone can do sales. Sales is like not something you need a degree for. However, I got a degree for sales. And that's because I got into the business school at Purdue. And it was really hard. It was really hard. And if I applied myself, I probably could have done it. But I remember my first semester in the business school, I had to miss a football Saturday. And I remember everyone was out tailgating and I was studying in my sorority house. And you have no idea. I already suffer from an advanced level of FOMO, seeing all of my sisters just file one by one out of the door with their golden black shirts on that they cut into like little halter tops with their little Purdue P on their chinny chin cheeks or whatever. And I'm sitting there studying. I was like, fuck this. I'm never doing this again. No job that I will potentially get is worth me sitting inside on a fall Saturday during football season. Fuck that. I'm out. So then I went to my advisor and I'm like, what is the closest thing I can do to get to business but not have to do this bullshit ever again? They're like, you could be in sales. I was like, that sounds fake. They're like, it's not. So I like to package it as I graduated from the Consumer and Family Sciences department because it sounds nice, like the Consumer Sciences department. Like I'm being a scientist with consumer behavior. In reality, the sales program was just a bunch of partiers, people who had like really amazing personalities, and probably would like everyone I graduated with is doing amazingly in their career, because I think that they do have good personalities. And if there's one thing I can teach younger kids is like, you really don't need to know anything. I mean, if you're a doctor, yes. If you're an engineer, yes. There's a lot of professions that require you to need to know things. But in like the business world, which like it's a very gray area, you really just need to be a likable person. So That's what I learned at Purdue. I really did learn a lot of social skills there because I had to really become friends with a lot of people that would let me cheat off them. And thank you. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Michaela Galeazza, Brett Damish, thank you so much for letting me cheat off you in college. A lot of the times you didn't even let me cheat off of you. I just like stole your shit and then, cheated off you anyways. Or I like when we had group projects, which sales was like a ton of group projects, I would just like literally beg Michaela to be in her group. And she was like, fine, bitch, you can be in the group, but just please do something. And I was like, okay, sure. And then, the day before something is due, I'm like, what was I supposed to do again? And she was like, I fucking hate you. But we graduated and we're still friends. So that's that. Okay, where was I going with my little rant? The reason why I was gone last weekend. So Mr. Roberts and we went to Park City. It was my birthday weekend, kind of. And every year, him and his family do this fly fishing trip. And Mr. Roberts' family is a lovely family. Like they just like each other. They're respectful of boundaries. They talk at like an even tone at the dinner table. No yelling, no screaming, no calling each other names. They don't gang up on each other. My family, on the other hand, complete opposite. Like we are no boundaries. Always the decibel levels are at a 10. We're always screaming at each other. If you are not, and I like didn't really notice it until I would bring other people around. I'm like, oh, my family is crazy. And we are so mean to each other. We are bullying each other constantly. And I realized like when I went over to Mr. Roberts' family's house, like they don't bully each other. Like they're nice to each other. So it was just like it's always a lovely time being with them. So every year they do this big fly fishing trip. And so I got to spend some one-on-one time with the girlies. And, I'm in Park City at a time where Utah is literally the center of the universe. We have Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City just started back up. I am just like buzzing with excitement. And it's so funny how much I love Utah, but I also love to drink. And it feels like a juxtaposition. It feels like I shouldn't like Utah for everything it is. It's like a little too perfect. It's a little too clean. People are a little too nice, a little too blonde. Their eyes are a little too symmetrical. And I really love it. And I have never felt so close to Meredith Marks than when I walked down the street of Main Street in Park City. And I felt like I could feel her presence, the rumors, the nastiness. I felt alive. And of course, I'm trying to be a normal human being around Mr. Roberts' family. They don't watch The Housewives because they have like morals. They have interests that are, of another taste level. And they're like, so is there anything you want to do while we're here? Like, nice, accommodating gesture. And I'm like, well, there is this show, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And they're like, oh, yes, we could do, what do you want to do? I'm like, I need to go see this fucking jewelry store. I need to see what we're dealing with because I've heard this big game. Meredith Marks talks a big game. I needed to see this shit in person. So we're walking down the main street in Park City. It's gorgeous. It's fall. I'm in Austin right now and it is 99 degrees. I wore a sweatshirt this morning on the trail just to feel something. And it was drenched by the time I got home. But in Utah, it was just the perfect crisp fall day. I'm walking down the street and I see this hot pink square sign, Meredith Marks Jewelry. And I knew I was home. So I walked in there and it's a tiny, it's literally as small as this guest room. It's maybe a little deeper. But I'm just literally so giddy. And I don't know how to say this nicely, but the jewelry designs she has a vision. She has a vision for the jewelry. I am blind to that vision. I don't see it, but also I'm not a woman of taste. I'm a woman that is sitting in a robe that was gifted to her by Poppy. And, I have a golden retriever. I don't have taste. and I don't know if Meredith Marks does either though, but so we're looking at the jewelry and all the ladies are just like, oh, okay, so like what do you want to see in here? Like, do you want to get anything? And I'm like, no, I just wanted to be in the presence. They're like, okay. I just need to be in the presence of my women, you know? So that was a really nice experience, just like feeling close to Meredith Marks. Of course, everywhere I went in Utah, and every single person I talked to that was a native, I was like, do you know any of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And they're like, yes. Actually, every single person I asked knew Lisa Barlow. I swear to God, she really is the queen of Utah. The second night we were there, Mr. Roberts set up this really, do I keep calling him Mr. Roberts? Like, I'm kind of over calling him Mr. Roberts. Do we call him Nick? Nick feels like too like formal and personal though, like to call him Nick to my social media girlies. But Nick, he set up this gorgeous dinner for us, with this private chef. And it was just like some of the best. It was a very, very amazing experience. So we had like these wontons and this spicy crunchy crunchy rice. It was just so good. And the private chef, like right when she got in there, I was like, I am such a big Housewives of Salt Lake City fan. Do you know any of the ladies? And she was like, I was actually the chef at the lunch they had where they were dressed up in the FLDS garb, churning butter, shaking butter. That was the chef. The food that they were eating was from the chef that came over to the house that night. And it was fabulous food. And she said she knows Lisa Barlow. Everyone also loves Lisa Barlow. So, and I love Lisa Barlow. Like, what is there not to love about Lisa Barlow? She's literally such a good housewife. We'll get into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City in a bit, but also, the guy's fly fishing guide, he was the guide that took them out when they went ice fishing. I think that's the same time that they did like they were in the hot tubs and Jen Shah like splashed them. That was kind of like the first time we saw just how unhinged Jen Shah was. But I just thought that was really nice. And I felt like very connected to the girlies. Now I am on this wellness journey. So I restarted 75 HOTTober. I'm on day 9 right now. And it is also HOTTober. I came up with this thing called HOTTober. It's going to be a month-long giveaway of some of my favorite businesses that make me feel my hottest, because being a creator in this space, I get a lot of free services that make me feel so good about myself. And I want to be able to share that with other people, because I know in these tough times, it's hard to like spend money on yourself. And I also think that when you do things that make you feel hot, like on the outside, it also encourages you to continue to like take care of your body. No, wait. If you do things that make you feel hot on the outside, it makes you want to do things that make you feel hot on the inside too, like working out, taking your vitamins, supplements like that. I feel like when I have a spray tan, I am 10 times more likely to go to the gym, because I just like feel better about myself. So it's like has compounding effects. So we just gave away a hair and a spray tan to a girly. And this week, when this comes out, we'll be balls deep in a giveaway to my gym. I am obsessed with Heat Boot Camp. Well, first let me brag on my hair girl. I am obsessed with my hair girl. Her name is Katie. If you need a blonde girl, or actually any color, she does every color in Austin, I cannot recommend Katie more enough. Like, if you go back and look at my hair before and look at my hair now, I just like, you can see it has completely changed my face. Like, I just look like brighter. I look glowier. My look is just more elevated. So finding a hair girl that just can complement your skin. She also put in extensions. I was like so anti-extensions, and I am obsessed with them. I had like kind of like a hair loss journey, like at the end of 2021. My hair used to be like super long, going into 2019, and for some reason it just like stopped growing, and I just like kept trying everything I could to make it grow, and it just wasn't growing. And Katie put extensions in me, and it literally just made me feel so hot, so confident. I just like it, my everyday experience with my hair was now like healed. Like, you know, when you have a bad hair day and it just like fucking like irritates you and it ruins your day, like that was done because I met Katie. So I am so happy that someone else gets to experience Katie. And also Katie's assistant Kim, she does spray tans and she also assists Kim with color. They're just two really amazing people that I cannot say enough good things about. And so we gave that experience to somebody, and now we are giving away a month membership with my favorite gym. And I just have to say, I came from Orange County. Orange County is like the fitness group fitness mecca. There's just a bunch of hot people there with money to spend on group fitness. Everyone loves group fitness classes in Orange County. And so I've like had the best of the best. And when I moved to Austin, I was really nervous because everyone says Austin is this like active city. And I have to say, Austin is active. I don't think it is a very good, they don't have a lot to offer in the fitness area. There are some really good people that you can go to. Like I know Bodies by Brent. He's an amazing personal trainer. There's a lot of really good Pilates studios, like Peach House is here. But as far as just like if you want to lift weights with a group of people, there's not a lot of places to go to except for Heat. I am obsessed with Heat. Heat is like the best group fitness studio, I think, in Austin because you actually are lifting weights. You can lift heavy there. And it's not just like half the class you're running on a treadmill or running around, getting your heart rate up just for your stupid fucking Apple Watches. Like you're actually doing a good workout versus like okay, here's who I hate. Here's the tea. Orange Theory, Berries, and F45 can go fuck themselves. All they do is just get your heart rate up so you can put your little post on your little Instagram story. Look, I burned 500 calories. But for women, really, well, I guess I'm not like an expert, but I've had the best results with weightlifting, and that's why I love Heat. I go every morning, 6 or 7. I usually go to the 6 a.m. classes. So my new routine is going to the 6 a.m. class. Mondays are leg day. Tuesdays are upper body. Wednesdays, full body. Thursdays are leg day. And Fridays are upper body. So I also like that there's a muscle split there. And then after class, I go get Hank and we do a 3-mile walk around Austin. And then I get like 8,000 steps before 9 a.m. It's like very, very glorious. So we all know I'm on this 75 hotter kick. And you know, my wellness routine is extensive. And it's not even like as extensive as a lot of other people's wellness routines. I'm doing sauna. I'm doing cold plunge. I'm doing red light therapy mask. I'm doing armor colostrum. I'm doing AG1. I'm doing the Symbiotica vitamin pouches. I'm taking so many fucking vitamins. I'm drinking so much water. I'm eating beef. I've been eating beef, by the way. I just want to say, I do my little breakfast salads, my big ass breakfast salads, the Babs. I am like inundated with wellness content constantly. And I feel like every little part of my life has some sort of wellness component, even down to like now I'm like looking at what kind of materials I'm wearing. What am I cleaning my house with? It's gone. It knows no bounds. But back in the day, I want to run through what the wellness scene looked like when I was in my early 20s. So I was in my early 20s. I turned 20 in 2008. And when I was in college, I feel like girls I see on TikTok in college, like they are so far ahead from where we were at, just like in their skincare, bitch. When we were in college, first of all, my skin was lucky to see a Neutrogena makeup wipe. And I know those are like not the best for you anymore, but my skin was lucky to see that. I rarely washed my face, and the kind of makeup I was wearing was like that MAC Studio Fix, like super thick, like cream foundation that came in a compact, and I would just slather that shit all over my face until my face was orange. And then we loved the dark black eyeliner in the waterline. And I would just sleep in that. So you'd wake up looking like you've been rode hard and put away wet, and you'd be next to some guy and your mascara is like crusting your eyes together, and you wake up and you're like, can you take me home? They're like, bitch, a pledge is gonna take you home. We're gonna pretend like we don't know each other tomorrow. Okay, thank you for letting me stay over, sir. Okay, bye. So that's kind of just like how I started my days. And then I would go to my sorority house. We had these plastic mugs from the Neon Cactus, which was like a bar in West Lafayette, and I would chug that. That was like the only water I would get, and it was like survival mode water. Like I wasn't drinking water for my health. I was drinking water to survive. And then I would chug a cup of water, and then I'd walk down to the sorority kitchen. And each day we had a private chef that would make food for us. And I'm making it sound a lot more chic than it was, because our private chef was always in the back just chaining cigarettes. And our menu was always, we had this thing called hamsters. It was like a little cordon bleu. What is it? Cordon bleu? Where it's like the ham, it's the chicken with the ham and like the hollandaise sauce, but it was like fried and it looked like a hamster. So literally they would put on the menu hamsters. We had that every fucking Tuesday. It was disgusting. We had a salad bar with like fried chicken nuggets, and I was like, this is my healthy meal. So I would do the fried chicken nuggets on a salad drenched in ranch. Everything in ranch. Everything in ranch. I had a love affair with ranch in college. Oh my God. If you've ever been to the Midwest, you know they bleed ranch, and it was so delicious. And I also gained so much weight from it, but I don't regret a goddamn thing. So then I would eat my little lunch, because at this time, by the way, I'm also waking up at like 11 a.m. So by the time I woke up, lunch was already served. And did I have a class earlier that day? Yes. Did I skip it? Of course. So I had my lunch, then I would maybe go to my last class, and then I would be thinking about what am I doing to party that night? And I partied every single night. And I wasn't like a crazy party girl where it's like I'm doing like really destructive partying. No, I was socializing every night. You know, Purdue was like a very like light school. Like we didn't do hard drugs. Like I don't even think, first of all, no one did any sort of like snorty kind of vibes at Purdue that I hung out with. If you smoked weed, it was a very, very hush hush. Like we were just like a very like chill school. Like we did binge drink, but like on the drug front, we were very chill. So Mondays were quarter that's hard to say, quarter bottle beers. So you could get 4 beers for $1. So that was one of my favorite nights. Tuesdays was Jersey Tuesdays. Sigma Chi always hosted Jersey Tuesdays, and I was always there because I was a Sigma Chi frat rat. Wednesdays were Where Else. I usually sat Wednesdays out because Where Else was giving GDI vibes, and you know, I was a Greek freak. I loved the Greek system. Thursdays, that was the Neon Cactus night, and we would go to the Piano Man and just get absolutely tanked on these huge 32-ounce drinks. 32 ounces of Long Island iced teas. That is the fucking Midwest for you right there. The SEC could never. I'm telling you, the Big Ten is honestly the most fun conference, and it's the most slept on conference because people truly know how to have a good time in the Big Ten, whereas the SEC is like, it's all these like bells and whistles. They're always telling you they're having a good time. The Big Ten just has a fucking good time. And so I would have these big ass, I'd probably down like 3 32-ounce Long Island iced teas. My goal was to black out. Like we just like loved to just get as wasted as we possibly could. Thank God nothing bad happened to us. And then Fridays were just like normal frat parties. Fridays, Saturdays, of course, football during football season. And Sunday, I would also kind of take a breather on Sunday. So maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. But okay, so before we would go out, I would either get like Chipotle or I'd eat like a hamster from the kitchen. And then I would just do it all over again. And as you can see, there's not one lick of wellness in that routine. We had no wellness. Like in college, we did not give a fuck about our health. It's so crazy to me that these girls are like staying in for their health, or they're like drinking water, or they're working out. Like my working out was 1 week before spring break. I would just be cracked out on Adderall and I would go run at the co-rec for an hour. That's all I knew how to do. I didn't lift a weight. I would just run because I was so cracked out on Adderall. And that was what I did. And then once I graduated college, I did start a wellness routine when I graduated from college. And so I graduated in 2010. I would say I started working out when I was 24, 25-ish. I joined LA Boxing. That's a throwback. It was basically just like a gym where they had like boxing classes, and we'd like box on a little what's it called? A bag. But it was before like Rumble. It wasn't chic at all. Like it was very like the instructors all had cauliflower ears, and anyways, and my only like diet was eating 1,200 calories a day. That was it. Like it did not matter what it was. Like our hacks of dieting back then was how much food you could eat for as few calories. So we'd always find like these like little snacks that were like, you could get a lot of food, but the calories were low. And usually those foods were super fucking processed and had absolutely no nutritional value. So we weren't really worried about like nutrition as much as we were worried about calories. And I feel like I started to drink a little bit more water here. But still, like that was like my routine. I didn't really take a lot of vitamins. I mean, I think I took like the basic vitamins, like vitamin C, maybe like a woman's like multivitamin, but it was nothing. Like I didn't sauna. I didn't even know what cold plunging was. If you told me what cold plunging was at 26, I'd probably be disturbed that you go in 40-degree water for fun. Like, what is that? But we did not do like, I would do a juice cleanse, and juice cleanses are not good for you. But yeah, now my routine looks like I wake up, I go to the gym at 6 a.m. I do my 3-mile fucking walks. I come home. I make my Armor Colostrum. I make my AG1. I take all my fucking vitamins for my head, because also back then I was on Adderall, and now I'm repairing my brain from all the fucking ADHD medication I was prescribed. So I take 2 different types of dopamine receptor vitamins. I take my Schedule 35 mushrooms, which, oh my God, I need to talk more about the Schedule 35. It literally changed my life. What else do? I do Symbiotica, vitamin C. Sometimes I'll do their glutathione. And then I can get to work. That's just all before work. Then during work, I'm trying to manage my cortisol. I'm trying to do little exercises so I can just stay between, like, keep the cortisol down. Then at the end of the day, I make my dinner, and of course it's always like a protein and a veggie and some sort of carb, because I count my macros now. I don't count calories anymore. I count my macros. I mainly focus on my protein. I try to get like 130 grams of protein, which I normally can hit. And then it's wind down time. So some nights I will do a sauna cold plunge. Other nights I will do the compression boots, which like come all the way up to your hips. And it's like one of those machines, the blood pressure machines, but like just all down your legs. And it's supposed to help with recovery. I'll do that with my red light therapy mask from Current Body. And I keep the lights low. I like a low light situation. Mr. Roberts likes to turn every fucking light on in this house. And I'm like, please, we need to lower the cortisol. I don't like overhead lighting. I like to lower the cortisol. And then I take my sleepy time vitamins, which I like to do early bird, which is like a low THC CBD gummy. I take magnesium, the calm magnesium, and then I do Array. And I've also recently taken to drugging myself with Tylenol PM, because I have to go to bed so fucking early and I'm not ready to go to bed all the time. So I have to drug myself. And that's my routine now. When I tell people like I need to lose like 10 to 15 pounds so I can get back down to like a healthy weight, because I am 10 to 15 pounds heavier than my like resting rate, people are always like, oh my God, you're being too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. I am a millennial woman who was a teenager in the early 2000s. I grew up in a generation of almond moms, okay? It's not just my mom. It was every adult woman around me was an almond mom. We are raised by a generation of women who were 100 pounds on their wedding day, okay? I have not been 100 pounds since 7th fucking grade. And I know that because we used to be weighed in middle school in front of each other. Okay. It was a mandatory thing. They made us get weighed every single year. Do you know how fucking traumatizing that is? We were balls deep in puberty. Okay. We are all like, some of us are starting our periods. Some of us are years away from starting our periods, and we're all being weighed. You know, I remember there was this girl who she was an early developer. She had like full set of tits, and we are like in 8th grade. Okay. And I'm just like, I can feel the period starting. Like the uterus was like buzzing with like the egg about to drop. And she weighed more than us because she started her period earlier than us. And she has to see, we're all like talking about how much we're getting weighed. It was barbaric. And not to mention, we were also children in the 90s when all the supermodels were so fucking skinny. It was like this heroin chic look. That was what all the supermodels looked like. And then now we have overcorrected, and we are a generation of women who are so hyper focused on our health, and it's all because of this shit. It is now a different form than it was back then. I feel like I haven't really talked about tea this episode, and it's supposed to be the tea with JB. Let me see what I had written down. Oh, everyone is watching. This is the word, or we didn't ask for this, or what is it? The Aaron Foster's new show starring Adam Brody. And people are like, oh my God, you're going to love it, Jade. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. I don't know how to tell you guys how many times I have to tell you guys, I don't watch scripted television anymore. I just need to be me. I need to speak my truth. I tried liking scripted television. I liked it when my brain was like a little bit, more fully formed before I had gotten into TikTok. But I am who I am. And I like reality TV. I like reality TV and documentaries. That's what my brain just really like feels most at home with. And when I say reality TV, I watch anything on Bravo minus I don't have time for Below Deck anymore, and it's just gotten so far down the hole with the sailing and all of that. I don't do Below Deck anymore. I reserve 3 nights a week for Bravo, and that's it. And then sometimes I will dip my trashy little toe into Sister Wives on TLC, and that's about it. I will say Secret Lives of Mormon Wives did captivate me, and I think it's because it had like the Housewives vibe, where it's a group of people who are clearly friends, that they look nice to look at. I will say the houses, I would love to see an aspirational level. I would like to step it up a notch in that way, but they were just like really nice to look at, and they always kept the drama moving in a very like it was like inconsequential. I don't like when the drama is like I was gonna say something like most of the TLC shows, it's too deep and it's too manufactured. Like I don't like Married at First Sight. Like that's not for me. I don't watch The Bachelor anymore. I think The Bachelor's golden day is over. It ended with Ben Higgins' season. If you know, you know. When I see all these Gen Z girlies, they're like, oh my God, I love The Bachelor. I loved it. It's so good. You don't know good until you watched Brad Womack's season of fucking The Bachelor. The fucking did not need to go in there, but it just did. That was TV. Michelle Money. I fucking love Michelle Money. Emily captivated. Talk about America's sweetheart. She had us by the neck. She had us in a chokehold. We loved Emily. Ben Higgins' season, I think, was the last season where it was just like right before people started going on to get Instagram followers. And that was like Lauren Lane, Amanda Stanton. Who else was on that season? It was just so fucking good. That was like the last good Bachelor season, and I refuse to watch that anymore. But back to this show. So Adam Brody, people are having a renaissance with him. And I have to say, I have always been an Adam Brody fan, because if you were a Seth Cohen girly, there were two types of girls, two types of millennial women. You were either a Ryan Atwood or you were a Seth Cohen. And I was a Seth Cohen. And I also happened to be a Summer Roberts. You were either two types of girls. You were either a Marissa Cooper or you were a Summer Roberts. And I was a Summer Roberts. And so I really appreciate the Adam Brody renaissance, because a lot of our millennial idols, we've seen them fall from a very, what's it called? It's a tall fall from grace. I have cerebral problems. I have a phonetic problem, I think. Maybe it's the ADHD. Maybe it's my disability. But like, we've seen a lot of our heroes fall. Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan. She's on the up and up, but it was a long fall for her. So I love that Adam Brody has kind of just maintained like a normalcy, you know? And that brings me into another millennial icon. This TikTok came across my desk last week and it sent a chill down my spine. I shuddered. It was Jason Waller, Stephen Coletti, and Talon Torriero. I don't know how to say that name. And they said that Laguna Beach came out 20 years ago to the day. And that, it's just, when I hear that, I'm like, how am I old enough to like have something be 20 years ago in my life and me be old enough to remember it? Because I, in my head, am like still just a little girl, you know, like I'm just like a 21-year-old girl, but really I'm 36. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe it was 20 years ago. And I will never forget seeing Kristin Cavallari pop onto my screen for the very first time in that thin black choker. She had the perfect side bang. That was just like the millennial side bang. She perfected it. She had this like swaggy walk, and she had this way of talking that just captivated us. Steven, my car is donezo. She had us in a chokehold, and I was like, who is this girl? Like, she's the coolest fucking thing ever. I didn't understand that I was watching reality TV. I remember like sitting in class and I was talking to my friend. I was like, are you sure it's reality? They're like, yeah, they're just videoing their life and we get to watch it. And I'm like, but they're our age. She's like, I know, it's crazy. It was a crazy concept for us. It's still a crazy concept. They were all teenagers. We were watching teenagers on our screen. So this is what I wanted to talk about, the millennial pipeline, okay? Because there again, we're two types of girl we were always wanting to split ourselves into two different genres in that time of life. There were two types of girls. You were either a team LC or you were a team Kristin. And I am proud to say I have always firmly stood on the right side of history as a team Kristin girl, because you have to remember on the show, Kristin and Steven are boyfriend and girlfriend. And then we have LC over here they're painting us as like, wow, Steven is just dying to be with LC. LC is the girl Steven should be with, but he's with this bitch Kristin. And I'm like, in my head watching it, I don't understand why we are rooting for this guy to cheat on his girlfriend with LC. And also Kristin, like, she really wasn't that bitchy when you watch it back. Like, LC and Lo were just as bitchy as Kristin was. It's just like edited in a different way. So I firmly stood on the side of Kristin Cavallari, and I think it's because I have this like certain millennial pipeline. Like, there's a certain type of girl. So the team LC pipeline is, you were probably into Pink Ranger. If you liked Pink Ranger, your American Girl doll of choice was probably Samantha. And then your Spice Girl of choice was probably Baby Spice. Bitches loved Baby Spice, I have to say. That was like the first Spice Girl. When you had to claim your Spice Girl, everyone was going for Baby Spice first, especially the bitches who had the Samantha American Girl doll. And then after that, they were the first ones to pick Justin Timberlake. I love Justin Timberlake. I love his little curly frosted tips. And then after that, where are we now? Oh, after that, you were a Marissa Cooper. And then after that, you were a Team LC. And then after that, you had a J. Crew bubble necklace. Now the Team Kristin pipeline. I remember I was super, super young. I was maybe like 4 or 5. And I was playing with this girl and she's like, I'm the Pink Ranger. You're the Yellow Ranger. And I was like, good bitch. I love Trini. So that kind of started me on my path of like really giving the underdog a chance. So from being a Yellow Ranger, when it was time for me to choose my American Girl doll of choice, I was like, you know what? I fucking am gonna pick Molly. I like Molly and her little braids and her glasses, and her dad is a prisoner of war in World War II. I'm picking Molly. That bitch has grit. And then after that, when it came down to choosing my NSYNC character, I already knew Justin Timberlake, JC, they were off the table, okay? And I said between Joey, Chris, and Lance, I'm going Lance. And guess what? On the right side of history with that one too. When it came down to picking my Spice Girls, I was mesmerized by Ginger Spice's jugs. She had the nicest big tits, and everyone knows the Ginger Spice Barbie was the hottest Barbie ever. And I loved that yellow streak in her red hair, and Ginger Spice was it for me. After that, I was a Summer Roberts girly because my path had been kind of like chosen for me. And after Summer Roberts, of course, I'm a Team Kristin. And then all Team Kristin girls dabbled in Four Locos. Okay, my God, I have been yapping a lot. Usually, like, I find it like hard to yap by myself. But today, like, the yapping is rolling. I don't know if it's the mushrooms. I don't know if it's the Celsius. I've also been off the sauce, really. But I allowed myself to get 1 Celsius this week for recording purposes only. So I'm like literally savoring any sip. Not like this shit does anything to me. By the way, everyone's like, I could never drink a Celsius. It just cracks me out on caffeine. I would have too much anxiety. Bitch, I was on ADHD medication for like 16 years. This does nothing to me. This is for like placebo effect. Purely placebo effect. Caffeine does absolutely nothing to me. It's honestly sad. Okay, let's end it on this. Okay. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is really starting to pick up speed. I am obsessed with Mary Cosby. Mary Cosby is not of this world. I am scared of her. If I saw her walking down the street, I would probably cross to the other side and let her have the whole sidewalk to herself. She terrifies me. However, I am obsessed with her. She is housewife comedic genius. She's like Ramona if you removed even Ramona already has very few empathy. She's not very empathetic and she's kind of like tone deaf. If you removed even that little amount of empathy and sympathy from Ramona's brain, that's Mary Cosby. When they were at the ropes course, I was on like a little bit of early bird, so it was like a little high, and they get to the ropes course. The ropes are 30 feet in the air, okay? If somebody falls, they're falling to their death. That's why they're strapped in. And Mary looks up and she goes, okay, so what if one of us falls? Is that it? Is that it? And then Whitney Rose had to say, no, we're going to be strapped in. Speechless. Like, you couldn't write comedy that funny. Then they're watching all the girls like finish the course, and Mary looks up and she goes, is that Maylee? I thought she was much thinner than that. She just says things and she can get away with it. Honestly, goals. I'm kind of living for this season. I really like the Britney situation with her and Jared Osmond, because there's some sick side of my brain that like loves to watch a delusional woman on TV process in real time that she is in a situationship. And maybe it's because it is like, I see that in myself and I've seen that in my friends. Like, who hasn't been in a situationship? But I have to say, Brittany, you are and of course it's Brittany with an I. I don't think you're allowed to have a name spelled a normal traditional way if you live in Utah. You have to do something different. It's one T and one I. Very strange. But Brittany she is a middle-aged woman. She has got to be in her 40s. And with all of the modern resources we have TikTok, we have Instagram Reels. We're constantly talking about situationships and men being shitty. And she doesn't understand a man calling her her best friend is her in a situationship. And it's fascinating to watch. Of course, now this was bound to happen. This is probably why they even let her be on the show. I don't think she's interesting enough to have a snowflake, but the storyline is interesting enough to like just keep her as like a friend of. But of course, there's a brow girl in Salt Lake City. It's always a brow girl. And all these people who I feel like Utah is full of hairdressers and service-based profession queens, like anything that's like an aesthetic service, like that's a very Utah thing. And so Angie knows a brow girl who I guess Jared DM'd, and now Jared's like on Instagram. You should honestly go to Jared's Instagram. It's very, very entertaining. Let's actually pull it up. So Jared, he said that the only reason Brittany was cast was because of him, because he's an Osmond, which like, LOL, no one gives a fuck. And he said that they did not want to have their love on screen. So he would only do it if they were considered best friends, which like that makes no fucking sense. Hold on. Let me pull up his Instagram. Jared Osmond. And also, oh no, he's private now. Fuck. Damn it. I did screenshot it though. He's not even like the Osmond. He's like one of the off-brand. He's like one of the like friend of Osmonds, He's not like the main Osmond. But God damn it. Okay, I can't find it. Anyways, This season is really just, it's like re-sparking my love. I will say in 2020, I kind of fell off the Housewives. Like I just like was overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And it just like the Housewives weren't doing it for me anymore. And I am just like, I feel like I'm back with my girls. Like I love them more than ever. I also really love this season of Real Housewives of Orange County because there's such a clear betrayal. There's just such a clear villain in John Jansen and Alexis Bellino. The way that Alexis Bellino acted at the end of that last episode is so insane. I'm also just like here for Tamara being held accountable for her actions, because if you remember, like Tamara's like never really held accountable for the shit she does, the way she drags people over the coals for the shit that they do. For example, like Shannon getting a DUI, like Tamara has just fucking reamed her, and Shannon didn't even like get a DUI. Her getting a DUI really didn't affect Tamara that much. I guess it affected her with their shows that they were doing, but Tamara consistently drinks and just fucking unloads on people, and she's never held accountable for that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Jen hopefully like deal with that situation, but I don't know if Jen has it in her. Hopefully she does. I actually really, really like Jen. And I think that's it. I feel like that's a good place to end it on. That was a long episode. If you guys like this episode, please share it with somebody. Please rate, review, subscribe to YouTube. I think I have like 20 YouTube subscribers. I'd like to get like maybe like 30. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.